I will very briefly go over what a context profile is before I get into the actual topic of this video. But I promise this is not going to be like a theoretical video. I have actual examples here prepared for just the sort of different context profiles that I've used and have experienced in the past that work very well, and also the same ones that you can apply into your business. These are general themes that fit pretty much in any business that I can think of. Obviously, they're very adaptable. You can tailor and customize these profiles to suit your needs better if you just sit down and you analyze what it is that you want as an output. And this will all make sense in a minute. So previously, what I used to do is feed ChatGPT a PDF or a document of like whatever it is that I wanted the output of. So, for example, for the agentic build that I did a while ago, I fed like a 3-page SOP document on the company details, their opening hours, the delivery, the service that they provide, and it was just very, very convoluted. And it was not I wasn't surprised that the agent misperformed half the time. So the better way, and quite frankly, a much more efficient and quicker way of performing tasks using LLMs is to compile all of that information down into what's known as a context profile. This is essentially just a fancy way of saying JSON formatted computer language. It's essentially a restructured way of all the information that you already have in those documents. And you can use AI to do this. Like you can just feed it the PDF and then say, make a context profile, and then use that context profile for future prompts to get your output. So it's very straightforward, but it requires a bit of knowledge and it requires a bit of understanding of how to actually use them correctly. So previously, I used to do this. I used to take every single piece of information that was available to me about the business that I was working with and put it into a Google Doc or upload it as a PDF to ChatGPT to then ask questions against, essentially turning it into a chatbot, basically, for whatever situation I needed it to be trained on. But it turns out that there is a more efficient and, quite frankly, much easier way of doing this, using what's known as context profiles. This is what it would look like, and it is basically distilling all of that information that you could have in a 40-page document, let's say, into a understandable and readable for AI version of the text. So we're just using a version of a key, which is this on the left here, is like age range, learners, decision styles, and then we're matching that to a value that is specific to our role and our business needs. And like 9 out of 10 times, that provides a much better response. So context is essentially the surrounding information given to a model in order to curate its response. And the way LLMs work is that they only have a specific context window and a specific limit to that context. So if you sort of exceed that using, a 3-page prompt or a large document that will overload the AI, so to say, it will not find what it is that you're looking for as an input. So to give you an example, I've actually taken this from a presentation that I watched, a very nice presentation. I will link it in the reference below. It's the classic problem of trying to find a needle in the haystack. This example is very dumbed down and straightforward. The question is, what was the best advice I got from my college classmate? And in this plethora of text, you can see that the best advice of what I got from my college classmate was to write every week. This is very straightforward. You can see literally half the sentence is exactly word for word copied. So the AI will not have much of a problem finding this. But you can imagine that for, let's say, law firms or for real estate agencies that have to deal with multiple documents and also profile these documents differently, you will start to run into the limit of what is actually possible using AI very, very quickly. So in order to combat that, we need to compile as much information as we can into a JSON formatted profile, and this will maximize the desired outcome or the likelihood of that desired outcome. This goes for things like sales assets, support assets, scripts, any sort of content or image generation, ads, copywriting, pricing, also tweaking your offers to adapt to new customer segments, and also just general customer assets. So many things can be applied here. But in this video, I'm going to just give you a general overview of what is possible and how to actually take that raw information, turn it into reusable business data, and actually apply that in your day-to-day interactions with AI, and then by extension, how good you are at delivering your service to the world. And the good thing is you can build them once, you can use them forever, and you can keep updating them with the latest information. So here are the 4 most important ones that I've seen that most businesses could benefit from. The first one is profiling your ideal customer. Then we have your offer. So what services do you offer? What price points do you offer them at, etc. A business paradigm profile is also very useful. This can include things like your company mission, your ethics profile, your what it is that you want out of the next 6 to 12 months as a service delivery person, as a person who's involved in your industry. And lastly, I'll also show you an example of a brand profile. This is essentially your creative reference for anything customer facing related, design pages, landing page copy, all of that. So yeah, a lot to talk about, but this is a perfect introduction for anyone looking to start with AI in your business. So. Okay, first one is profiling your ideal customers. We want to know exactly who you serve. You may already have a good understanding of this, but it is important to condense that information into a set of keys and values in order to then give the AI some data-backed understanding of who it is writing for, who it is meant to inform, who it is actually selling to or help you sell to, or also provide support to. So the way you do this is you can have multiple of these because obviously you may not be serving one kind of customer. There may be different customer segments and different revenue sources based on that. But you want to compile a demographic and psychological overview of your primary audience. And then another way to do it is also to actually make a scenario-based or a case study profile. Basically, you take a case study in your clientele that has worked very well for you, and you describe their challenges, their motivations, the environment that you close them in, the environment that the before versus after, basically. And you condense that all down into something that looks like this. So you can see that in this context profile, I have age range. So the primary age range would be like 30 to 45, mid-career growth focus, all those things. We also want to dissect core beliefs. What is it actually that the people that we sell to stand for? How do they think? How do they act on a daily basis? Their activity patterns. So, if you're selling online, it's good to know, or actually this goes for both online and in person. It's good to know if you're doing a study on people that are already your existing customers, and you just ask them, hey, what do you get up to in a normal day? How have you found us? So this can be things like weekday behavior, weekend behavior, engagement patterns online. What do they watch? How long do they watch for? What kind of content do they consume? Is it more informational? Is it more reading? And what's like the sort of peak of their usage times? You can gather this data, I think, from not only from things like analytics softwares, but also just if you have already a good audience, just like, hey, will you be willing to fill out this questionnaire for me? And that will already give you a very good idea of what you're dealing with. Okay, next we move on to profiling business paradigms. We want to not only look at who it is that you're selling to, but you also want to look inwards, as in create a psychological audit of your business identity. So the ICP profile is what, who do you sell to? And this business paradigm will show you how you can actually do that or how you can do that better. So this will allow the AI to understand how you think as a business owner on top of who do you sell to. So you can do this by defining if you are a coach, a consultant, strategist, whatever service it is that you offer. And then from there, you can move on to your beliefs, your fears, your motivations, and then also things like ambitions, shortcomings, internal conflicts that you may have had in the past. And you can use AI to write each piece or outbound copy using these foundational beliefs that you have had compiled. So, for example, operational principles would be like, how do you handle data? How do you make decisions? Is it manager first, human-centered, insight-led, just things like that. And I know these are like buzzwords, but I want to stress the importance of giving AI this batched information and then saying, hey, write me a LinkedIn post with 100 words using this information that I've just, using this context profile that I've just compiled for you. So, and this feeds perfectly into the next one, which is how do we communicate who we're selling to and the paradigms that we have built our business on to our prospects, and how do we make sure that we convince them of our value. So this profile is all about defining your product or service. So this example is actually for a SaaS platform. What it is that you're offering, a very general overview of target audience, because that part is going to be has already been covered in the first profile. The key features that you offer, your business model, pricing tiers, things like your unique selling points. So what actually makes you stand out in the market, your growth goals for the next, whatever time frame you choose. And you also want to add any primary concerns that people have over your product. You want to add things like, what is the most asked for feature any common questions or any common questions that your prospects have. And again, because this is something that will directly influence the way your customers perceive you, it is very important that you have as much detail in here as possible. And you can use this, and this is something that I've done as well, is to use this in agentic build for closing more clients, let's say in your Instagram DMs or in your email inboxes. Okay, next we have the brand voice profile. This is very important because now that we have given enough information about our offer, about the way we reason, the way we think, we need to bridge that gap to the outward facing side of your brand and especially if you have a personal brand. This is very important to keep your tone and your coherency and the way you speak, to keep that up to date with the AI as well. So you can train these LLMs to mimic your unique communication DNA, your cadence, your rhythm, your speech patterns, and you can do this by filling out your branded profile using your personality, your tone, your preferred sentence structure, vocabulary, any sort of filler words or punctuation styles that you may use. I've just made this for text-based, but you can also go a step further and use this for your visual brand style, so the colors that you use, icon style, videography style as well, so that every single generated output feels natural and on point. And this will also be very powerful for your marketing, your product UX, if you're doing SaaS, for product UI. Support assets, you can also carry over this brand visual style into your support emails or tickets that you may fill out, have your prospects fill out for you. So this is really the icing on the cake when it comes to all the other context profiles that we just talked about. And this is just a sample one. So we have warm, playful, insightful tone, friendly yet professional. This is very generic. I know this applies to pretty much every business. Voice cadence, so conversational, short, clear statements. Another cool thing you can do is actually carry over personality traits from famous people within your niche and your industry. And you can carry multiple personas of these real people who have done real impact and then bring it over into your brand profile to use.
Now that you have a very good idea of how to actually compile these profiles into a set of input, prompt, and then output, this is a very useful tool to just generate instantaneously. And the cool thing is now you also have a data bank of information, which is essentially all of those context profiles put into one, that can be continuously updated and also stacks in different combinations depending on your offer, your business paradigms, your customer profiles, as well as the brand profile. And I'll show you how that looks like. So if you combine, let's say, the way you operate as a business, who you're targeting and how you should target them, so your brand profile, you can write high quality social posts. If you do operational offer and brand profile, you can create user and sales assets that speak directly to customers. And if you combine, let's say, operational offer and customer profile, you have now a inwards facing assistant. You can now create a internal assistant that will help you craft a new offer or venture into a new space of the market, improve your upsells or existing angles, help you test different angles as well in your copy. And you just have that extra oversight that will do most of the heavy lifting for you when you are doing these tasks that will require a large amount of time or just consume a lot of effort. So a lot of information, but I guarantee you, in whatever way it is that you're using AI in your business, this will help you out by a very large margin and assist you with some very high ROI tasks. I could not go over everything in this video, but if you are wondering how you can apply or let alone begin to identify the places in your business and in your customer pipeline where you can apply these things, feel free to reach out to me through the first link in the description below, and I will be happy to help you out with whatever questions you have. And also I can walk you through some of the more advanced automations that I've built using these frameworks to get some real outstanding business results.